When we think of Egypt, we often picture grand pyramids, great pharaohs, and golden tombs gleaming beneath the desert sun. But beyond the tourist landmarks lies a deeper enigma, one that continues to baffle even the brightest scientific minds. From concealed chambers to ancient relics bearing mysterious tech, Egypt holds secrets that defy logic and challenge everything we believed we understood about early civilizations. Let's take a closer look at some of these finds. Number 15. The Geyer-Anderson Cat. The Geyer-Anderson cat is a bronze statue from Egypt's late period dating to around 600 BCE. This 6-inch tall kitten sculpture is lavishly decorated with gold accessories and sacred jewelry, including a protective wedjat amulet. It represents the goddess Bastet and features a scarab on its head and a winged scarab across its chest. While the statue looks pristine, its preservation is deceptive. X-ray imaging shows cracks nearly encircling its midsection, and only an internal support system prevents the head from detaching. Luckily, Major Geyer-Anderson, who donated the piece to the British Museum, was also a skilled conservator. In the 1930s, he added reinforcements and carefully removed heavy layers of verdigris and reddish patina to restore its true appearance. Though delicate, the cat remains a brilliant example of Egyptian metallurgy and religious symbolism. The statue's aesthetic elegance, combined with its engineering challenges, highlights the exceptional craftsmanship of its creators. Today, it is one of the most striking and iconic pieces of Egyptian art in the British Museum's collection. Number 14. The so-called Tomb of Osiris. Osiris shouldn't have a tomb. Well, that's because he's a god, not a king. But back in May 2015, rumors began circulating about the so-called Tomb of Osiris in Egypt and beyond. The story centered around a 3,200-year-old tomb uncovered in Sheikh Abdelkurna, a necropolis on the west bank of Thebes. The tomb is massive but unmarked. It has a large transverse hall with 5 supporting pillars and a stairway carved into bedrock leading to chambers linked to the legend of Osiris. According to ancient myth, Osiris ruled Egypt until his brother Seth betrayed him, sealed him in a box filled with molten lead, and cast it into the Nile. After reincarnating as a crocodile, Seth tore the body into 14 parts and scattered them. Isis, Osiris's wife, later recovered and buried each piece, forming shrines. This tomb is undoubtedly one of those shrines. But was any part of Osiris actually buried here? Well, almost certainly not. Still, its scale and anonymity make it one of the most puzzling structures in all of Egypt. In ancient Egypt, even gods needed rest. Number 13. Trajan Set's Kiosk. Trajan's Kiosk is a majestic hypaethral temple that has stood for centuries on Aegilkia Island in Egypt. Known locally as Pharaoh's Bed, this structure is linked to the Roman Emperor Trajan, who ruled from 98 to 117 CE. However, much of its architectural form predates his reign and may belong to the era of Augustus. Originally located on Philae Island, the temple was relocated to Aegilkia during the 1960s UNESCO campaign to preserve Nubian monuments threatened by flooding. The kiosk, soaring to a height of 52 feet, likely functioned as a ceremonial shelter for the sacred bark of Isis on Philae's eastern banks. It features 20 columns topped with ornate composite capitals, each crowned with 6-foot-high piers. These were initially intended to be carved into statues of BEs, though that plan was never completed. Its association with Trajan is supported by a relief inside the kiosk depicting the emperor making an incense offering to Osiris and Isis, a symbolic fusion of Roman imperial presence and Egyptian spiritual heritage. Number 12. The Zawyet El-Aryan Pyramids. The ancient Egyptian pyramids near Giza still mesmerize archaeologists and historians, yet one of the greatest enigmas of this civilization remains the 2 obscure, incomplete pyramids situated in the town of Zawyet El-Aryan. Believed to have been constructed during the 3rd dynasty between 2700 and 2600 BCE, the Layer Pyramid and the unfinished Northern Pyramid are cloaked in secrecy and speculation. The Layer Pyramid, thought to be built by Pharaoh Khaba, was excavated in the early 20th century. Nearby, several large mastabas were discovered, likely belonging to elite officials, indicating the area's considerable royal significance. The unfinished northern pyramid, also referred to as the Pyramid of Baka or the Pyramid of Bykharis, remains a subject of debate. Some experts attribute it to King Bykharis, others to a prince named Baka. Sadly, the site has remained largely untouched since its discovery. A nearby military installation restricts access to the area, leaving the structures deteriorating and a wealth of knowledge still waiting beneath layers of sand and time. Number 11. Statues of Amun as a ram. The Temple of Amun at Kawa in Nubia once housed at least 3 majestic statues of the deity Amun, represented as a ram shielding King Taharqa, the pharaoh who initiated construction of the stone temple in 683 BCE. Amun was among the most venerated gods in ancient Egypt, and the ram was one of his sacred animals. Ram-headed sphinxes and statues of rams have frequently been found in temples dedicated to Amun. These particular rams were unearthed by Professor Francis Llewellyn Griffith during excavations at the temple between 1930 and 1931. One statue was acquired by the British Museum directly from Griffith in 1933, where it remains today. It depicts a ram lying with its legs tucked beneath it, sheltering a standing figure of King Taharqa. A cavity in the ram's head suggests where a gilded disc was once affixed, while hieroglyphs on the base declare Taharqa as the son of Amun and Mut. The Ashmolean Museum in Oxford holds its pair, and the third statue is displayed at Sudan's National Museum in Khartoum. Number 10. The Heqanakht papyri. The Heqanakht papyri, also called the Heqanakht letters, date to the early Middle Kingdom of ancient Egypt, roughly 4,000 years ago. These invaluable texts were discovered inside the tomb complex of Vizier Ipi and were accidentally mixed with debris used to push the coffin of a servant named Masay into the burial chamber. The papyri include letters and economic records written by or for Heqanakht, a ka-priest of Ipi. They provide an unusually personal glimpse into the lives of upper-middle-class Egyptians during that era. The documents explain the economic system in which rents and taxes were paid to the pharaoh in grain, mostly barley. Heqanakht routinely calculated payments in barley, but converted them into equivalent values in oil, copper, or textiles. He gave and received goods across different commodities. These records are valuable not only for understanding ancient Egyptian economics and accountancy, but also for exploring the origins of mathematical techniques, including the use of fractions. The presence of double-entry accounting and theoretical units reveals an economy far better than previously assumed. Number 9. Ramses II. Ram heads. During a 2023 excavation at the Temple of Ramses II in Abydos, archaeologists from New York University's Institute for the Study of the Ancient World unearthed more than 2,000 mummified ram heads and various animal remains. These findings date to the Ptolemaic period and span over 2,000 years of history. The preserved ram heads are believed to be votive offerings, proof that Ramses continued to be revered a millennium after his death. In addition to the animal remains, the team discovered a large building with 5-meter-thick walls dating back to Egypt's 6th dynasty. Other recovered items include statues, papyri, leather garments, remnants of trees, and footwear. This newly found architectural structure expands the known timeline of Abydos, a major archaeological site in the Sohag Governorate that once served as both a necropolis for early Egyptian royalty and a center for the worship of Osiris. The discoveries offer fresh insight into the ritual landscape of Abydos before the grand construction of Ramses II's temple began. Number 8. Beni Hasan Cemetery. Beni Hasan Cemetery in central Egypt holds immense historical value. Positioned roughly 12 miles south of the modern city of Minya, the site lies between the regions of Asyut and Memphis. It was primarily used during the Middle Kingdom, although some tombs from the Old Kingdom have also been found there. To the south of the cemetery stands a temple dedicated to the local goddess Pakhet. Built by pharaohs Hatshepsut and Thutmose III, the subterranean structure is known as the Cave of Artemis, so named because the Greeks equated Pakhet with Artemis. The cemetery houses 39 tombs belonging to Middle Kingdom nomarchs who governed from Hebenu in the Oryx nome, now recognized as the 16th nome of Upper Egypt. The tombs, carved into limestone cliffs near the provincial capital, reflect the wealth and authority of regional elites. Their intricate wall art, illustrating scenes of daily life, hunting and warfare, showcases the artistry and social hierarchy of ancient Egyptian provincial life at its peak. Number 7. Mummy head found in attic. The mystery of a severed mummy head discovered in a British doctor's attic began to unfold after the rare find was first reported in mid-2022. The head, determined to be that of an Egyptian woman who lived over 2,000 years ago, was analyzed using CT scans. These scans revealed that her tongue was well preserved, while her teeth showed signs of a rough, possibly unrefined diet. Despite these insights, the artifact's exact origin remains unknown. Experts suspect the head was likely brought back from Egypt during the 19th century, possibly as a souvenir and kept as a family heirloom. Mummy fascination was common during the Victorian era, when people held unwrapping parties and took part in bandage removal rituals. Researchers are now planning DNA sequencing and carbon dating to further investigate the remains and eventually reconstruct the woman's face. Their final results will be published in a scientific journal. The hope is that this study will add to what we know about ancient Egyptian burial methods and preservation practices. Number 6. The Coffin of Nedjemankh. The splendid gilded Coffin of Nedjemankh, an ancient Egyptian priest devoted to the ram god Harishef, was acquired by New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art in 2017 with plans for exhibition. However, in 2019, before the exhibit concluded, the museum returned the coffin and the priest's remains to Egypt. This elaborate coffin, constructed using cartonnage, gold, silver, paint, resin, glass, wood, and leaded bronze, measures 72 inches long, 20 inches wide, and 11 inches deep. Its lid is adorned with vignettes from the Book of the Dead, illustrating scenes like the weighing of the heart against Ma'at and mummification rituals. Inside, the goddess Nut is partially covered in silver foil, while the coffin base bears a jed pillar hieroglyph symbolizing stability and Osiris's spine. Titles inscribed on the coffin identify Nedjemankh's religious position. Before its repatriation, the coffin's provenance was under scrutiny. Forged export documents falsely claimed it had been cleared in 1971 and belonged to Cairo art dealer Habib Tawadros. This led to charges against antiquities dealer Christoph Kuneki. Alright, now, let's move to number 5. Burials at New Damietta. In a late 2022 discovery, archaeologists uncovered around 20 ancient burials in the coastal city of New Damietta, Egypt. These interments, dating back to the 26th dynasty roughly 2,600 years ago, offer a glimpse into a turbulent period when Egypt was striving to preserve its independence from foreign control, with its capital in the Nile Delta. Among the remains were gold foil amulets shaped like revered Egyptian deities, including Isis, renowned for her healing magic, Bastet, the feline protector, and Horus, the falcon-headed god. These golden idols likely served to shield the dead in the afterlife and elevate their spiritual standing. According to Egyptologist Campbell Price, who led the excavation, religious texts from the era state the gods possessed flesh of gold. The team also found scarab amulets symbolizing renewal and canopic jars used for organ preservation. While the burial goods reveal significant cultural practices, the identities of the individuals remain unknown. Much about these people, their roles, status, and lives, still eludes researchers, leaving many questions open for future study. Number 4. The Prudhoe Lions. The Prudhoe lions, also known as the Salab lions, are two monumental red granite sculptures from 18th dynasty Egypt dating back to around 1370 BCE. Originally positioned as guardians of the Salab temple in Nubia, built under Pharaoh Amenhotep III, the lions bear inscriptions from later rulers. The markings reveal their reuse over centuries, with evidence that Tutankhamun restored the temple and a later pharaoh, relocated the lions in the 3rd century BCE. They were eventually moved to Jebel Barkal by Amun, a Kushite king of Meroe, who added his own inscription to the statues. In the 1800s, Lord Prudhoe retrieved the lions from Jebel Barkal and had them transported to London and Cairo. What sets these statues apart is their unique posture. The lions are depicted lying on their sides, heads turned and front paws crossed, unlike the traditional sphinx or lion statuary with outstretched limbs and forward-facing heads. This more relaxed, natural pose offers a rare glimpse into artistic variation in ancient Egyptian sculpture. Number 3. Shabti figurines. When archaeologists open tombs in Egypt, it's fairly common to uncover small figurines called shabtis. Thousands have been found, yet their exact function remains uncertain. They're often believed to be symbolic servants of the deceased, though this theory remains unconfirmed. That belief stems from the observation that shabtis first began appearing in aristocratic burials around the same time human sacrifice in tombs disappeared. Some later examples include inscriptions interpreted as curses or protective spells, while earlier versions are unmarked. Certain shabtis carry miniature farming tools like hoes, while others hold baskets. Even the origin of the word is debated. Some scholars link it to shab, meaning to command, while others trace it to shab, meaning stick. It's possible they were simply decorative items placed in tombs and became a widespread custom, but in ancient Egyptian burial culture, very little was without significance. Whether spiritual helpers or funerary tokens, shabtis reflect an evolving belief system and the symbolic language woven into every element of the burial tradition. Number 2. Children of Ramses II. Ramses II fathered between 48 and 50 sons and 40 to 53 daughters, figures confirmed by various ancient monuments. He made no distinction between the children of his two principal wives, Nefertari and Iset Nofret. The earliest born sons and daughters of both queens are shown on statues at the entrance of the great temple of Abu Simbel. Besides Nefertari and Iset Nofret, Ramses married at least 6 additional women, including 4 of his daughters, Bentanath, Maratamun, Nebetowi, and Henetmeyer, who in one interpretation may have been his sister. He also married 2 daughters of Hattusili III, king of the Hittites. Of these wives, only Bentanath and possibly one Hittite princess are thought to have borne him children. Lists of royal offspring have been found at Luxor, Wadi es-Sebua, the Ramesseum, and Abydos. His sons appear in scenes of battle and conquest, including the Battle of Kadesh and the Siege of Nippur. Ramses' decision to depict so many of his children contrasts sharply with earlier pharaohs, who typically kept royal offspring out of sight. Number 1. Tomb Complex at Saqqara. After a 2-year break due to events in 2020 and 21, a group of Dutch and Italian archaeologists returned to Saqqara in early 2023 and uncovered a remarkable underground tomb complex along with several chapels. Led by Christian Greco and Laura Weiss, the team's objective is to better understand the history of the Saqqara necropolis, one of the most vital archaeological sites in ancient Egypt. The newly uncovered tomb belonged to Panasi, a steward of the Temple of Amun during the reign of Ramses II. The structure resembles a standalone temple and includes multiple chapels that offer a rare glimpse into the religious life of ancient Egyptians. The team also identified 4 smaller chapels adorned with well-preserved funeral artwork and scenes. One of the most detailed chapels was built for Ayu, a gold foil artisan working for the royal treasury. Its intricate wall art features colorful funeral processions, reverence for the goddess Hathor, and the sacred boat of the local Saqqara deity Sokar. As of 2025, research is still ongoing. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in the next one.